Yo, what is going on, guys? Pluries here, back at it again with another YouTube video. And today we are going to be going over my settings here in Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone. Hope you enjoy.
She's playing with my mind, I don't really got the time, I don't wanna play your games. Oh, you used to be so kind, now I'm thinking that I'm blind, cause it all went up in flames.
Alrighty, guys, so for starters, I am a controller player. I do not play M&K. Therefore, if you are a mouse and keyboard player, you would want to go find a mouse and keyboard content creator to be able to get some of that information that I'm not going to be able to provide to you. I use the PlayStation 5 DualSense Edge back button attachment controller. I think that it goes for somewhere between $150 to $200 USD, and it is basically the equivalent of a Scuff or a Battle Beaver. I like it personally. You know, I think it feels really nice. I didn't mind the PlayStation 4 controllers. I like the PS5 just as much, so I went ahead and went with this. As it's much more accessible. You don't have to wait for the shipping for some of those third-party services like the Scuff or Battle Beaver. So going into controller settings to start, we are going to try and go through this rather quickly because I do not want to have like a 15-20 minute video. So aiming input is obviously going to be controller. My button layout, I play tactical. I do not flip. And then I do not play with vibe. Going down, the dead zone inputs, I run 599, 599, 1010. I think that 5 is low enough that you're not going to get any stick drift, but you're also going to set it low enough that you get that natural, relation to what you're trying to do. So like you want it to be the quickest natural reaction time without stick drift. And one thing that they can actually do is you can now test your settings. So if I was to turn this down to 1 and test it, you would actually see, let me do both. The right stick's going to have a lot more stick drift, but you'd start to see when you go to move them that they start to flip around. So you want to turn that off. You really could play with this. You could turn it down to maybe 3, 4. I found that 5 is a consistent number where no matter what, when I'm touching this, it always comes back to 0, 0 for the vertical and the horizontal. So I think that 5, 5 is a great number, but you definitely want to test it out for your specific controller. It could be higher or lower. Moving over to aiming, I just recently changed my sensitivity and it is now at 6.6. They fixed the advanced horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity down to 1.0, which used to be bugged at 1.2. So now you can kind of set that up and it would feel realistic. I run a 0.9 ADS multiplier. It definitely helps with ADSing, but this is specific to me. I used to actually run higher and then run this down at like a 0.65 to 0.75. But you definitely want to kind of take it, maybe even apply this to your quick settings, which something you could do down there at the bottom is you'll see triangle his add and that 9 out of 15. That is actually your quick settings. I personally don't play around with it too much because I usually know where to find my settings, but that is something that you might want to do is put that in your quick settings so that when you're in a game, you can just go back and forth and try it out. Naturally kind of moving through, I play a dynamic aim response curve. And then pretty much none of this other stuff was touched. Default aim assist type. Something that you definitely want to see is down at the very bottom of the aiming category in the controller settings is motion sensor advanced settings. Open that up and make sure that your FOV sensitivity scaling is turned off. By default, that is turned on, and I have heard very, very, very many rumors that turning it off will actually give you a little bit more natural control or sensitivity. So you'll be able to feel a difference in a positive correlation with that off. I haven't really tested it thoroughly, but I heard enough people say that I just decided to turn it off, for benefit. Moving over to gameplay, this is going to be a little bit more of a important area. We are going to have automatic sprint. Automatic tac sprint. Slide maintain sprint, I turned off. Auto move forward, I turned off. Single tap run for the behavior. Automatic airborne mantle I did on, but I turned automatic ground mantle off. Slide only because hybrid is something that they brought back. A lot of people are going to tell you in their settings video that they use hybrid, but a lot of times when I tried to, maybe I'm just heavy handed, but a lot of times when I went to slide, I dove and it ended up getting me killed. I would rather just take dive out, even though it is very useful on the bigger maps, such as, Al Mazrah used to be out, Urzikstan is now, and rumored to be Verdansk coming back in the future. It is nice to have that in the bigger maps, but my side to side and overall my movement is nice enough that I can go without the dive, and so I go slide only. Plus, I'm mainly a resurgence player, so I don't need diving as much as the bigger map players would. All this other stuff I pretty much just leave. You can copy it. Nothing really for explanation, but prioritize interact. as I've said in my previous settings videos, is very, very, very important for Warzone. And then apply all is very, very, very important for Warzone. Now, if you're a multiplayer player versus a Warzone, you would probably want to do prioritize reload for this. I don't think that you're going to want to prioritize interacting in multiplayer, but you will for looting purposes in Warzone. The rest of it, like I said, is pretty much just standard. Nothing really changed there. So moving on to the graphics, I run full screen borderless. That's just going to be your display monitor. I have a 4090, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090. Let's see. Anything else? My brightness, I just upped to just a little bit to 55. I think it gives you a natural look without making it too bright. The NVIDIA Reflex low latency is on plus boost. Just, you can pretty much, I did a custom frame rate unlimited. And yeah, there's nothing really there. Going over to quality, render resolution 100, fidelity FX cast for the upscaling and sharpening, with 90 as the strength. You can turn it down to 80, but 90 works for me. Now, I do have a very beefy PC. I have a $5,500 BR Paradox custom built PC with some of the top of the line specs all throughout, as far as the motherboard, the CPU, the GPU, all of it. So not probably going to be aligned. Most of the community is not going to have the quality of the PC that I and other content creators have. So you will definitely want to do some research as far as some of these settings. I don't typically prefer for my game to look as good as I want it to perform. So I'm definitely going to be more of the performance space. As you'll be able to see, my VRAM usage is very, very low compared to what I'm capable of having. I only run about 3 3/4 gigabytes versus the almost 24 or 23 and a half that I am allocated based on my specs. I turn path tracing and rays off. Going down more, texture resolution normal. Most of my stuff is going to be normal, low, or off. Shader quality low. On-demand texture streaming off. Shadow quality low. A lot of this stuff is low or off. Do that. View, I play in 120 FOV, affected, wide, 90 wide. Motion blur and film grain, as well as world motion blur and weapon motion blur, as well as film grain off, least. Third person ADS. Spectator is going to be game perspective versus helmet perspective. Yep. So that's settings for this. Moving on to audio. I actually have heard rumors that the soundbar audio mix is best. I did try out, and I can't think of his name now, but the other content creators settings. I may have done something wrong, but it actually did not sound that great. Art of War. Tried out his audio settings. A lot of people were kind of saying if you installed them, they were cheating. And I did hear examples through his video and other content creators of what it was like if it's installed properly. There's just so many steps, and it was literally almost an hour worth of doing different things here and there to be able to get it going. I just wish that obviously, Activision would come out with a working audio that was actually reliable and consistent. But until then, soundbar has actually been rumored to be the best. And this is what I do for my master game volume mix. So I do 0 for gameplay music, 70 for dialogue, 100 for effects, and then 0 for cinematics and war tracks. My voice chat volume is 70, but I run everything through a Go XLR mixer on a dual PC setup. So it may be different for y'all. Voice chat on, all lobby on default system device. Again, some of these output and input devices are going to be different. They're going to be specific to your individual setup. I do push to talk just so I can talk if I choose to, but not open mic. Microphone level 100. Yeah. And I don't play with subtitles. I think they're annoying. Other than that, a lot of these settings are just going to be specific to what your settings in your PC or console is. And then lastly, guys, moving on to interface. Nothing really here except for the color customization to kind of go over. I do a custom. I edited the palette a little bit. The biggest tip for you to acquire from me is going to be in the color filter settings. You're going to want to select filter 2, both 100. I think that this makes your game naturally look the best without having to use NVIDIA game filters or anything like that to naturally or to artificially enhance the quality of the visual aspects in this game. Other than that, guys, HUD bounds are just set to the outer edges. Vertically and horizontally. I do a square with a rotation of my mini map. Everything else is standard. I didn't touch anything, I don't believe. Telemetry, all I run is the FPS counter, the server latency, so I can see if there's if I have good ping, and then packet loss to see if my packets are having an issue. Other than that, I turned gameplay tutorials and tips off. And that's pretty much it, guys. So I know we flew through that. If you need to go back and watch it again, please do. If you enjoyed this content, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.